The skydome shimmered above the ruined Earth, suspended in the clouds like a sapphire mirage. Inside its glass walls, marble floors stretched endlessly, lit by shifting orbs that mimicked ancient stars. Among the elite of the galaxy, a human child moved like a ghost. Elara Quinn slipped past two towering security bots, their crimson eyes scanning for adult threats, not a 9-year-old in a ceremonial dress. Her mother's warning echoed faintly, *, stay close, no wandering, *, but curiosity always whispered louder. Down a hallway carved from translucent obsidian, Elara found a half-open door, marked only by a symbol she didn't understand, a dragon's eye, weeping fire. She pushed it open. The room beyond glowed warm and golden. Treasures sat like frozen lightning, a sunstone sculpture, fossilized moons, a painting that shimmered with emotion rather than color. And there, nestled among relics from 10,000 worlds, was something completely out of place. A worn Terran photograph. Elara blinked. The edges were frayed. The image showed her, chubby-cheeked and barely 3, perched on her mother's lap. But standing behind them, wings tucked and eyes soft, was the unmistakable figure of Lady Vithrina of House Skarks. Younger. Smiling. Elara didn't think dragons could smile. She picked it up, pulse rising. This wasn't a display. It had been hidden beneath a dragon fawn comb, intentionally tucked away, as if protected. A deep, rumbling voice shattered the silence. "What are you doing in my private chamber?" Elara turned slowly. The door had sealed behind her. Lady Vithrina stood in full ceremonial regalia, robes of molten blue, eyes like forged iron. Her horns curved back like silver blades. Her presence crushed the air. I found this," Elara said, holding up the photo. Silence. Vithrina stepped forward, talons clicking gently on the floor. Her gaze fell on the photo. The shift in her expression was subtle, but unmistakable. Her wings trembled. Her pupils constricted. "Where did you get that?" she asked, voice quieter now. Sharper. "It was under your comb," Elara replied, inching backward. "That's me. And that's my mom." Why do you have a picture of us in your wallet?" The Dragoness froze. For a breathless second, the mighty Vithrina, ruler of Skark's holdings, breaker of trade embargoes, the Dragoness who once silenced the Senate with a single glare, couldn't speak. "You shouldn't be here," she said at last. Her tone was brittle, cracking at the edges. "Leave. Now." Elara didn't move. Her small fingers gripped the photo tighter. "You knew her, didn't you?" "My mom." I said leave. But Elara stood firm. "Is that why you looked sad when you saw me? At the gala?" Vithrina's jaw tightened. Her talons clenched, then slowly released. She turned away, her wings folding close. "You don't understand what you're stirring, child." "I'm not stupid," Elara said quietly. "You kept this hidden. You don't hide pictures of strangers." A sharp hiss escaped Vithrina's nostrils. She turned back, but the fire in her eyes wasn't rage, it was pain. "You think the world works on simple truths. That if something is hidden, it must be shame. That if something is remembered, it must be good. Then what is it?" Elara pressed. Vithrina lowered her gaze. "It's something that never should have existed." The photo fluttered in Elara's hand. "But it did." "I did." The Dragoness stared at her for a long moment, and in that gaze was the weight of centuries. A voice broke the tension. Firm. Familiar. "Elara." Dr. Quinn stood in the doorway, pale and unreadable. Elara turned to her mother, wide-eyed. "Why is she in the photo, Mom? You said you'd never met her before this week." Dr. Quinn's breath caught. Her hands curled at her sides. She stepped forward, slowly, as if walking into old fire. "Vithrina," she said softly. The name hung in the air like a ghost returning home. "Elara," her mother continued, voice tight, "please give me the photo. Now." The girl hesitated, then handed it over. Her mother looked down at it once, then pressed it against her chest. I thought you destroyed it, she whispered to the Dragoness. I should have, Vithrina said. Their eyes met across the space. No words, just decades of silence collapsing. Why didn't you? Quinn finally asked. Vithrina looked at Alara, then at the floor. Because some flames refuse to go out. Even when you drown them in duty. Alara looked between them, blinking. Wait, were you two friends? Neither answered. The girl's eyes narrowed. You loved each other. This time, Vithrina didn't deny it. Dr. Quinn turned to her daughter. This isn't your burden. But I'm in it, Alara said, hurt flashing in her voice. Whatever this is, it matters to me, too. Behind them, the shadows flickered. Somewhere far above, alarms whispered to life. Vithrina's private chambers had been breached, and someone had noticed. Go, Vithrina said. Security will come soon. Dr. Quinn hesitated. Vithrina. The Dragoness looked back. Not now. Not here. They left without another word. But Alara glanced back as the doors closed. Vithrina stood alone in that golden room, clutching nothing, yet holding everything she'd once let slip through her claws. And this time, she wasn't smiling. Alara sat cross-legged in the private quarters her mother had rented within the human embassy wing, far humbler than the crystalline luxury of Vithrina's estate. The walls hummed with energy shielding, but the silence between her and her mother was louder than anything mechanical. Dr. Quinn paced the room, the photo now sealed in a privacy envelope on the desk. Her shoulders were tense, jaw tight. I didn't want this, she said at last, voice low. You didn't want what? Alara asked. Me to know her? Or me to know you knew her? Both, it seemed, hurt to answer. Quinn stopped pacing and faced her daughter. When you're older, you'll understand that not everything we bury stays buried. And not everything we forget deserves to stay forgotten. That's not an answer. No, Quinn sighed. It isn't. The room pulsed faintly red. A signal blinked on the wall console, unauthorized security breach. Quinn ignored it. Her eyes drifted to the envelope again, then to the floor. Mom, Alara said, more gently, was she someone you loved? Quinn took a long breath. Yes. That one word cracked something open. Alara leaned forward, her tone softening. Why did you lie? I didn't lie, Quinn said. I just never told you. Alara raised an eyebrow, her mother's own gesture mirrored back at her. Same thing. A flicker of pain passed across Quinn's face. I thought you'd be safer never knowing. I didn't think we'd ever see her again. I was wrong. Did she leave you? Quinn laughed, bitter and quiet. No. We left each other. There was no choice. She belongs to a bloodline that doesn't bend. And she trailed off. You had me, Alara finished for her. A long pause. Then a voice crackled from the hallway intercom, Dr. Quinn. You have a visitor. She refuses to leave. Quinn paled. Tell her I'm not. Before the message could relay, the door hissed open. Vithrina stood there, framed in the metallic light. Gone were the robes. She wore a simpler garb, bare armor beneath a cloak. Her wings were tucked, but the power in her posture remained. You shouldn't be here, Quinn said. Vithrina stepped inside. Neither should old ghosts, but here we are. Alara sat silently, eyes darting between them. The air tensed like a drawn bow. You want to talk? Quinn asked sharply. Now? After 9 years of silence? I wanted to talk then, Vithrina replied. But you disappeared. You left no trace. I searched half the stars. And when you didn't find me? Quinn shot back. You went back to your house. To your throne. To pretending we were a mistake. That photo says otherwise, Alara whispered. The room fell still again. Vithrina turned to her. You were barely walking when we last met. You don't remember, do you? Elara shook her head. She used to fall asleep on my tail, Vithrina said, voice lowering. Your mother would hum songs I couldn't understand. And for a while, I thought maybe I could live between two worlds. You couldn't, Quinn said flatly. I tried. You chose not to. Vithrina turned, her regal calm flickering. You think it was choice? My family threatened extinction. Not exile, eradication. You, her, anyone connected to Earth. They still believe humans are unstable, dangerous, emotionally infectious. They're not wrong, Quinn said quietly. That made Vithrina pause. I watched the council vote to quarantine half your sector, Vithrina said. And I stood silent. Do you know why? Quinn's lips tightened. Because silence protects power. No, Vithrina said. Because if I spoke, they'd uncover what we had. And Elara would have died in a purge. The weight of that landed hard. Elara stood. So I'm alive, because you chose your throne over us? No, Vithrina replied. Because I chose to survive long enough to protect you in other ways. That photo didn't protect anything, Quinn said. It made her ask questions I couldn't answer. Then maybe it's time I answer them, Vithrina said. The console chirped again. This time, louder. Quinn checked it. Her face blanched. The council's flagged you, she said. Someone accessed your vault. They saw the photo. Federation investigators are en route. If they connect the dots. They already have, Vithrina said. I felt the shift in the house's channel. I'm being burned. Elara blinked. Burned? She's being stripped of her title, Quinn explained, eyes still on the alert. Her assets, her lands, everything. Because of me? Elara asked, voice cracking. Vithrina knelt. No. Because of me. Because I kept a part of my heart in a place my people think is beneath them. Elara looked to her mother, pleading. There has to be something we can do. Quinn's hands trembled. There's nothing. If we speak up, we're all pulled under. Earth's status is already hanging by threads. I'm not afraid, Elara said. That's because you're 9, Quinn snapped. Then her voice broke. I've lived through what they do to humans who step out of line. I won't run, Vithrina said. Not again. You'll be hunted. Then let them try. A knock rattled the door. Federation security, came the call. Open immediately. Quinn's eyes met Vithrina's. Old love warred with fresh fear. Take the back corridor, Quinn whispered. Third hatch, gravity chute. It'll drop you into embassy safe flow. And you? I'll delay them. Vithrina looked to Elara. May I? Elara nodded. The Dragoness leaned close, clawed fingers gently brushing the child's cheek. You are more than what they fear. You are the truth they've buried. Then she rose, wings unfurling, and vanished into the corridor. Elara looked at her mother. Will we see her again? Quinn exhaled slowly. If she survives this, maybe. The door hissed open. But Vithrina was already gone, her shadow stretching across the stars. The Drakari High Council chamber pulsed with ancient power. Rings of firelit stone formed a descending coliseum where the Empire's oldest voices judged with eyes like coals and laws etched in bone. A single black platform hovered at the center, where Lady Vithrina stood, unbound, unbent. Her wings were folded tight. Her armor stripped away. No crown, no seal of House Skarks. Only the truth she'd carried in secret. Lady Vithrina, the Grand Speaker's voice echoed, cold and jagged, you are accused of treason against your bloodline. Of concealing relations with a Terran female. Of preserving Terran offspring without council consent. Murmurs rippled like an incoming storm. Is it true? The speaker asked. Vithrina didn't flinch. Yes. Gasps. Some growled. One elder spat sparks. You admit guilt? I admit reality, she said. And I will not apologize for it. The speaker leaned forward. Then you surrender all holdings, all bloodline rights, and your place within the Drakari line of succession? Vithrina's voice was steady. I surrender none of it. Because the shame is not mine. You defy this court? I challenge its blindness. The flames around the chamber rose. Above, broadcasts reached every noble house, every system. The trial had been made public, intended to humiliate. Instead, Vithrina turned it into a reckoning. Do you know what humans call me? She asked, eyes scanning the crowd. They call me Dragon Queen. They don't bow out of fear. They bow out of respect. Something this chamber has forgotten. A younger counselor growled, respect? For primitives? Vithrina stepped forward. For people who survive without fire, without wings, without legacy, and yet still build hope from ash. The speaker struck the center glyph. Enough. But she wasn't finished. There is a child, my child, who lives between our worlds. She carries our bloodline not through species, but through memory. And she is braver than anyone in this chamber. The speaker's voice cracked like lightning. Then let your human child inherit your disgrace. Vithrina smiled coldly. She will inherit more than that. She will inherit truth. The chamber erupted in voices, protests, and insults flying. Vithrina stood alone in the eye of the storm, defiant. And then, the doors opened. Dr. Quinn entered. She didn't bow. Didn't flinch. She held a data crystal in her hand, her expression unreadable. I have evidence, she said. Security moved to intercept. The speaker motioned them to pause. This tribunal is for Drakari alone, the speaker growled. Quinn stepped forward anyway. Then I speak not as a diplomat. I speak as the mother of your alleged disgrace. Vithrina's breath caught. Quinn placed the crystal on the platform. It activated with a soft chime. A projection appeared, Elara, eyes wide, voice steady. I don't know much about councils, the girl said. Or bloodlines. But I know that picture made me feel something real. I know she didn't throw it away. I know she could have hidden from us forever, but she didn't. The chamber quieted. Elara's words weren't dramatic, but they were pure. She didn't abandon us, the girl continued. She remembered. And if remembering love is a crime, then maybe you're the wrong ones to judge. The projection faded. Silence. Then murmurs. Not of mockery this time, but of doubt. Quinn turned to them. You fear humans because we remind you what you've buried under rules and legacy. We don't burn bridges, we build them. And sometimes we cross them, even when they collapse. The speaker looked shaken. Enough. Your intrusion is unauthorized. But the damage had been done. The council was fractured. Younger members exchanged uncertain glances. Even the older ones hesitated. Remove them, the speaker ordered. Security approached. Vithrina moved toward Quinn protectively, but Quinn held up a hand. No need. She turned to leave. But the speaker called out. Wait. Vithrina froze. We strip you of command, the speaker said. But not your name. Let your house live with the shame you've chosen. Vithrina tilted her head. Then I leave freely. And where will you go? Another counselor sneered. Vithrina looked back once. To where memory still matters. Outside, the sky above Earth was a dull bruise of clouds and sulfuric haze. A private shuttle waited on a scorched launch pad. Elara stood beside it, hugging herself against the wind. She looked up as Vithrina approached, wings fluttering against the turbulent air. Did they hurt you? Elara asked. No, Vithrina said. But they no longer own me. Elara smiled. Good. Quinn joined them, her expression still hard, but lighter. So what now? Vithrina looked to the horizon. Now, we decide our own story. And if they come after us? Let them, Vithrina said. I've already burned one bridge. I won't burn another. The hatch opened. Inside, warmth and silence. Vithrina sat beside Alara, careful not to overwhelm her with size or presence. The child looked up at her. You said dragons don't cry. We don't, Vithrina said, voice quiet. Alara raised an eyebrow. Your eyes are wet. Must be the wind. The shuttle lifted, engines roaring beneath them. Below, the skydome faded into smog. Above, the stars waited. Vithrina looked at the girl beside her. Not a symbol. Not a scandal. Just a child who reminded her of who she had once been. You are not a mistake, she said softly. Alara reached out and took her clawed hand. I know. And for the first time in 3 centuries, Vithrina smiled without regret. The surface of Earth was nothing like the skyborn cities above. Here, the air clung to your skin, gritty and raw. Wind scraped across rusted husks of old towers, and nature fought its slow, stubborn war against what humanity had left behind. Alara watched from the window of a rebuilt outpost, a former observation dome turned into a new home. Steel frame, filtered air, a garden growing in the atrium. They had been here for 2 weeks. Vithrina knelt in the center of the greenhouse now, her wings folded tightly to avoid brushing the overhead glass. Her clawed hands were caked in dark soil. I thought dragons didn't garden, Alara teased. Vithrina didn't look up. We hoard. This is the opposite of hoarding. Exactly, Alara said, grinning. She watched the aliens sow seeds with a gentleness that clashed against everything she'd been told dragons were. Alara had grown used to contradictions. Her mother entered the room, a datapad in hand. The diplomatic relay came through. Vithrina paused. And? They've decided not to pursue charges, Quinn replied. For now. Technically, you left the council of your own will. Vithrina gave a dry chuckle. They always did like to pretend they didn't lose control, only that they gave it away. They've frozen your assets. I expected worse, she said, brushing her claws clean. They've only taken numbers. I still have my name. And your daughter, Quinn added. That word hung in the air a moment. Not debated. Just accepted. Alara came closer. Are we going to stay here forever? Quinn sat beside her. No. Just until things cool down. Vithrina looked up. And after that? We figure it out together, Quinn said. There was a long silence between the 3 of them, comfortable, not strained. The kind of silence that follows battles fought and survived. Outside, a lower rose on the wind. Alara looked toward the distant perimeter. That's not a storm. Vithrina stood. Shuttle engines. They moved quickly, up to the lookout post above the dome. Dust clouds kicked up along the broken highway. A sleek obsidian transport approached, council make. Not military, but it wasn't subtle either. Alara clutched Vithrina's hand. Quinn activated the external scanners. Encrypted signal incoming. House crest, Skarks. Vithrina's shoulders tensed, but her voice remained calm. Let it land. The ship touched down 50 meters from the dome. The hatch hissed open. Out stepped a tall figure clad in ceremonial black, his horns sharper, robes glimmering with house markings. Lord Vecker, Vithrina's brother. Not armed, Vithrina noted. Quinn frowned. Doesn't mean not dangerous. Vithrina walked to meet him. Alara and Quinn followed at a distance. The 2 dragons faced each other between the ruined earth and the sky above. Vecker looked older than when she last saw him, wearier, as if centuries of pride had finally taken a toll. Vithrina, he said. Come to finish the exile in person? No, he replied. I came because your disgrace is spreading. She raised an eyebrow. Disgrace has that effect. But so does change. That made her pause. Vecker stepped forward. Some on the council see you as a liability. But some, many younger voices, see you as an evolution. Proof that our bloodlines are not diluted by connection, but tested. And what do you see? She asked. I see that your daughter is now on 10 million broadcasts across 20 systems. And not one soul has called her weak. Alara blinked from behind Quinn. Vecker continued. The public is listening. The council is adjusting. Slowly. Begrudgingly. Vithrina narrowed her eyes. You didn't come here to warn me. You came to offer something. He nodded. Not power. Not return. A proposal. Your daughter is seen as unique. Bridgeborn. Let her study at the Intergalactic Academy. Let her represent what comes next. Vithrina was quiet. Then turned to Alara. What do you want? The girl stepped forward. Will I still get to come home? Quinn crouched beside her. We'll be waiting. No matter where you go. Vithrina looked at Vecker. On one condition. He tilted his head. She studies under both banners. Human Intracari. No rewriting her story. He nodded. Agreed. Vithrina turned back to her daughter. You'll see stars I've never touched. You'll walk where war once ruled. You'll carry fire in your blood and kindness in your bones. I'll make you proud, Alara whispered. You already have. They embraced, awkward, warm, real. A shuttle would take her in the morning. There would be long goodbyes, careful planning. But for now, they returned to the dome. Later that night, as the Earth spun slowly beneath stars, Alara asked Vithrina one final question. Do dragons dream? Vithrina smiled gently. Only when we remember how. And somewhere, across a sky once full of ash, something began to grow.